Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. It is Heather Nichols here. And oh my goodness, I am enjoying so much this beautiful summertime. It is August 7th today, 2024. And I've been spending a lot of time in nature in the Colorado Rockies, plunging in streams that are cold. I've added cold plunging to my life lately. It's been really, really fun. Totally unexpected. I'm somebody who absolutely has hated the cold and hated being cold. And it's been such a cool addition to my daily routine. So yeah, life is good, getting happy over here. I have to say the cold, this is not what this podcast is about, but the cold plunging has been it's creating a lot of euphoria in my world. Just really a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, and a lot more creative juice, a lot of expansiveness, and it's teaching me a lot about choice. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the power of choice and change. There's so much change going on in the world. I've been talking about this a lot recently, and it's so easy, I think, for people to think that they're at the effect of what's happening in the world. That is certainly what the world wants us to believe, or how kind of things are set up to make us function, is that we are at the effect. We're at the effect of the political insanity. We're at the effect of the ecological crisis that they say is going on. We're at the effect of the economic crisis, all these things. None of that acknowledges the fact that we have choice, and choice is one of our greatest powers. It is one of our greatest gifts, and it is a birthright. Even if you don't think you have choice, you do. And choice is something that I've explored a lot in the past, 15 years or so, through the amazing tools of Access Consciousness. And I also have choice has been something that has really been sort of turned up in my world recently, since adding this cold plunging thing that I never, ever thought I would do. And the first day that I did it, I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is going to be part of my life now. So my partner Brian and I were driving. We took a quickie little trip up to the mountains. Last week or so, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I guess it was last week. And we listened to a podcast from Joe Rogan, where he interviewed Wim Hof, who has created this beautiful body of work, breath work, cold plunging, meditation kind of trilogy that he teaches people and that he encourages people to do. And if you've ever listened to Joe Rogan, his podcasts are quite long, extensive, deep dives into, a whole bunch of things, interviewing people. And this was a real deep dive into the power of cold and the power of the breath work that Wim Hof teaches, and the power of the mind, really, which I would say is really what choice is exercising choice is sort of, the way I would put it is that we no longer believe that we are our minds. When we have choice, choice trumps all the thoughts and the judgments that you think are real. And it puts you into the creation of your life and living in a very, very dynamic way. And choice is, it's interesting because it actually isn't, a lot of people really love to have this kind of victim mentality. I have to say, that has definitely been true for me. I used to really love it. I still do love it sometimes, going to victim, I, I'm at the effect. Woe is me, epic drama queen time. And really having that, that the story that I am powerless, basically. That's what the victim position is the story that you are powerless to create what it is that you would like to create in your life and in the world. And it's insidious these days. It's quite a popular energy, actually. And it's one that if you don't believe that other people are victims, you're a meanie, And I don't believe that anybody's a victim, including myself, unless I'm in it and then I am doing my little story, my little song and dance. But I even know that's not true. I don't believe that anybody is a victim. And with that perspective, that point of view, to me, it's like an empowerment of other people's choice, because you can't simultaneously be a victim and be at the effect of the world and the people around you and have choice. They cancel each other out. So which one are you going to choose, And when you have choice, you can create anything you desire. Now, most people don't desire to be that powerful. So one of the things that has really come forward for me from exploring this cold plunging is the power of choice. I didn't realize this. Again, I was like, I really don't, I'm not I don't like being cold. I get cold really easily. My joke was like, I'm pretty sure I've frozen to death in past lives and I probably have. Because it would feel to me like I was going to die when I was really cold. And I have some beautiful people in my life who, started showing up and talking about this. All these people started talking about it kind of at the same time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this because it's showing up here. And my bowspring teacher, Desi Springer, sent me a text and said, hey, have you ever done this? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And she said, well, maybe this is a good lifetime to get over it. And I went, oh man, you just said exactly what I needed to hear in order to choose this. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try this thing. And I had heard a lot of benefits about the anti-inflammatory nature of the cold and, all these things. A lot of studies have been done, a lot of just more testimonials than anybody can track about the benefits of cold and anti-inflammation and adrenal regulation and psychological benefits. I mean, there's just, it's pretty amazing. And if you want to look into it, you can. And so Brian and I, we listened to this podcast and we went to the mountains and we were up at elevation. I mean, I live at elevation, but we were at 12,000 feet elevation. And for those of you, what is that? Maybe around 4,000 meters. So high country, the water up there is cold. And we were looking for streams, so we went for a hike and we hiked to this stream. And luckily Brian had done some cold plunging before, so he knew how he had been, educated in how to do it, because there is a how. You don't just get in the water and like freak out. That's completely defeats the purpose of doing it. So I got in the water. I think I got in first, and And we, set a timer and stuff. And I was like, and he goes, no, 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 no. Now you need to relax and you need to breathe deeply. And so I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And so I was in this freezing cold water and I just went, okay, I'm not going to pant. I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to let my body freak out. I'm going to breathe deeply, powerfully. I am going to cultivate relaxation right now, right here, even though my body wants to grip and, all these things, brace against the cold. And actually, as I say that, I think probably the reason I haven't liked being cold in the past is because I brace. It's the bracing against it that doesn't feel good to my system. But when you have a level of choice where you consciously let go, there is so much available there. And it, to me, it's this incredible exercising of the power of choice, no matter what, So I immediately started deep breathing. I started relaxing, like actually asking my body to relax, choosing relaxation. And it was this incredible kind of, seemingly, well, it was really like everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Access consciousness, crazy phrase that is really just, it deletes it, like your mind can't figure that one out, But it was this sense of, wow, I'm in freezing water and I'm relaxing as if I was in a hot tub, and I'm breathing deeply as if I was in a hot tub, and I'm relaxing my body. And oh my gosh, I have choice over my nervous system. I have choice over my physiology. I have choice over my musculature. I have choice over my visceral, reaction, my fascia, all these things. And it was truly a game-changing moment for me, because the cold it just started to feel like it's such a contribution to my body. And that water was very cold. I stayed in for, I think, 2 minutes and got out, and my life was changed. I was like, wow, I know choice in a completely different way now from this experience. And ever since then, that was a week and a half ago. I mean, it's really recent, but every day I'm like, where's the cold water? So luckily we have cold enough water in Boulder Creek here in Boulder, Colorado, where I live. And so we have the creek water is cold enough because the water has to be cold enough. And I've been able to go. I was in there for 10 minutes this morning. Just gorgeous, beautiful being in nature. And I have a tub being delivered today, so I can do it at home. And really excited about this. And every day I look forward to putting my body in cold water and practicing. So, this isn't necessarily, I mean, I'm really a huge fan of cold plunging now, like right out of the gate. I can feel my body, my inflammation going down every time I do it. My body's changing a lot. It just, so many cool things are occurring. And I've been doing some of the breath work that Wim Hof teaches as well, which has been really cool. But this wasn't really intended to be a podcast about that, although I'm just so enthusiastic about it. I love sharing things that I have found that are fun for me. It is a podcast about choice. And the thing that I love about the cold plunge is that it's this active exercising of the power of choice. You're just present. I mean, when you're in freezing cold water and you need to relax, you're present. You can't really be thinking about anything else. And it's the lack of presence that distracts us from the power of choice that we have right here, right now. So you can extrapolate this and apply this to every area of life, and really start to look at where do you go to freak out when you could go, No, no, no. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to expand. I'm going to relax. I'm going to calm my nervous system. I'm going to calm my mind, my physiology, my chemistry, my, neurology, my tissues, my being, my life, my future, my mind, of course, and choose that right here, right now. Choose it. And it's so powerful when we can do that. And I've been so amazed at how happy I've been. I felt like I was sort of in a little bit of for me, kind of a little depression for a while, just feeling kind of unmotivated, not really excited about creating, not really knowing what I wanted to create. And this has all changed since adding this cold plunging piece. But really, really stepping so much more into the power of choice. And I've been playing very dynamically with choice for a long time with the tools of access, because that's a lot of what access consciousness is ultimately about, is having the power to choose what we desire, what's true for us, what we would like to create. And anytime you're looking at creating big change in your life, you've got to get into the power of choice, because there's nobody that's going to do it for you. There's nothing that's going to create it for you. It's just, it doesn't the world doesn't desire for your life to be as great as you desire for it to be. That's just, nobody, hopefully you have some people in your life that genuinely care about you and desire for you to have what you desire. And most people have, a lot of people in their lives that don't actually desire that. And when you look at relationships, that's a very intense thing to grok. It's something that most of us don't want to look at, is that, when we have when we have relationships with people, family, peers, friends, coworkers, whatever, children, parents, spouses, whatever it may be, most people use, with relationships, it's so much about I'm going to be here, you be there. This is the exact amount of distance that that I require for us to not be, for me to never have to change, basically. So I'm going to stay here, you stay there, nobody move, nobody gets hurt, and then people start to use judgment to control people out of choice, out of creating a greater life, out of, doing something different. And when you start to choose beyond what somebody desires for you, based on what that means for them, because everybody takes everything personally. When you start to choose beyond that, then people in your life, unless they're really conscious and really a very different kind of person, which those are the people that I would really recommend, having around, surrounding yourself with, holding, in the palm of your hand, not gripping. But when you have people in your life that are threatened by the joy, the choice, the power, the ease, all of that stuff, you're going to have this barrage of people that are no, judging you to try to control you out of actually just really having choice. And a lot of times the amazing thing is that when it comes to making big changes in our lives, we don't actually, we don't really even necessarily know what we desire. And this is, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we don't know what we desire, because we think, even when you think you know what you desire, it's so often that what you desire is based on what all the people around you desire for you, or what you think you desire based on what you think you're supposed to desire based on what the world says. get married, have children, all that stuff. It's like, it doesn't, like, that's just one thing, it depends on where you are in your life. But that's a big one, go to school, graduate, get a job, get married, have children, retire and die, basically. Have a few vacations in there, and nobody encourages us to even look at that and go, is that even relevant to me? There's a million choices that we can make. And it's like, you are going to be happier. You are going to be as happy as possible. And then what else is possible when you're truly choosing what you desire and you're using the power of choice to create that. Very few people are willing to have that. This is the kind of crazy thing that, and I look at myself even, and I'm like, wow, where am I not willing to have this? Very few people are willing to truly have that level of creation, that level of choice, that level of being different. Because so often what we desire doesn't match anybody's constructs. And a lot of times it's not even something that we know is possible. It's more just it's more just kind of like energies. And I've looked at this a lot with myself recently with, we've had a lot of conversations, and I've mentioned on the podcast this summer about personalities and kind of not functioning from personality. I mean, personality is a construct. We have lots of them. We don't just have one, but it's a way that we sort of define ourselves in relation to the world to try to fit into all these different relationships and constructs and groups and identities. And, and we take on these personalities, and it serves us. It serves the purpose of us fitting into something, not the purpose of us being free to be. And so when we are, when we're fitting into something, we have to squash ourselves and contract who we are rather than actually really be something different. And as we do that, like the chance of you being happy, it's going to get diminished. And the chance of you having true choice is also going to get diminished, because you won't give yourself, we don't give ourselves the gift of true choice, because it's such a power that it threatens everybody around us. And so you have to be willing to be that person that creates ripples in the world and creates ripples in other people's worlds. And that it's not about being mean or disregarding other people. It is about really being committed to you and what's true for you and what you know, and not at the expense of others, but also not buying that any of those judgments are real. And it's amazing because you can really be that in the world, and you start to actually be an inspiration. As the more you know what's true for you, choose what's true for you, create that as your life. Like you start to be an inspiration for others, and there will be people that will go away because they don't want to hear anything about it, and that's fine. We just have to be more committed to our own joy than to maintaining the status quo, now more than ever. And if you don't have the power of choice and the tool of choice, it will so dynamically diminish what you are able to create. And and I love this example of the cold water, getting in freezing cold water and going to relaxation and deep breathing and choice over our nervous system, because it's such a pragmatic way to practice that. And I've been so amazed at how much it's translated into my life. And And, I mean, our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, that's really what we're strengthening with the cold plunging is, we have this sympathetic activation where the nervous system like kicks in and we get aroused to try to defend ourselves, fight, flee, that whole response, which is, it's called autonomic because it's seen as automatic and involuntary. It's kind of like seen as hardwired into our system. And then if we do get to resolve whatever that thing, the threat may be, if we get to resolve it, then the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and brings us down to more rest and relaxation and ease. And as we do that, we go through that sort of, it's like a bell curve. As we go through that, our nervous system gets stronger. But with this, anytime that you go to choice that overrides the automatic, whether it's actions, emotions, freezing, like freaking out in cold water, autonomic nervous system stuff, reaction to something. Anytime we sort of like step back, we get present, we go to choice. Okay, hold on a second here. I got choice. This is not the future that I desire to create is not reactivity, emotionality, hyper arousal, destabilization, financial disruption, relational disruption, all these things that if we let ourselves be in the soup of this reality and other people, we really will get sucked and swept into that. It's the distractions are available at every turn to just get sucked into that universe, and then that's it. We're in the rapids, as opposed to in a little eddy on the side of the stream. That's where I was this morning, in a little eddy, letting the water move around me but not sweep me away, and choosing to expand and receive and relax and enjoy, and so it's just such a power, and it's something that we have to exercise. Like anything that you want to strengthen, you have to exercise it. You have to exercise your muscles. You have to exercise the power over your nervous system. You have to exercise the power of choice. You don't have to fight the rest of the world to have it. That's actually just another level of reactivity that most people think they need to do. You have to actually relax and expand and acknowledge who you are as an infinite being that has access to the entirety of the universe, to substantiate that as your reality and practice that as how you function with yourself and how you function in the world and how you function with creation. And I just think it's so cool. I mean, what a gift that we have if we're willing to give that to ourselves. And again, I just want to really highlight that you do have to be willing to be different to have that as a reality. You really do have to be willing to be different. And that's okay. I mean, what else are you going to do? It's like you can get swept downstream and be flailing around in the rapids, for the rest of your life, fighting for your life, financially, relationally, emotionally, psychologically, somatically, biologically, physiologically, biochemically. I mean, all these ways that it's like our bodies entrain to the messaging of the world. And when our bodies entrain, we get hijacked by our chemistry and our neurology, largely, and so cultivating this sense of choice just with whatever it is that we're choosing in our lives, and then also having that kind of like dominion of choice with our bodies is a very, very powerful combination that allows you to have a dynamically resourced body, not be hijacked by your chemistry, not be hijacked by your neurology, cultivate, a completely different environment in your body in so many ways that staves off illness. And I mean, just everything, like everything changes physiologically, physically, and then in your life when you work with your body in that way. And that's, side note, but that's really why, to me, the body has to be included in what it is that for me and in my work. If we leave the body out, we're leaving a massive, massive, massive part of ourselves, like the resource that our bodies are. We're not only leaving it behind, but we're debilitating ourselves by ignoring and rejecting our bodies and what our bodies have to offer, and the power of what we can create with our bodies when we have that power of choice. And then again, that translates everywhere. So what is it that you truly desire? And what would you like to choose? And there's, this is sort of like an introduction in a way. And some of you I know listening have been exposed to the conversation of choice dynamically, and that's fantastic. I feel like, I can never really get enough of it. There's always more, basically. And for some of you, it may be more of an introduction to this conversation. And there's a whole education in choice that is available. It really is something that we actually have to be educated around how to make it work as a viable means for creation in our lives, with our bodies and in our world in every way, relationships, business, money, all of it, family, everything. There's an education that I think most people probably require that are interested in this conversation. I know for me, my education and choice has been one of the greatest gifts in my life. And it's come largely through the Access Consciousness classes that I've taken, and, just having these conversations, all over the place, lots of different ways of having these conversations. But it's something that you have to, if you're going to have choice as a reality, as the incredibly dynamic, fruitful, fruit-bearing tool that it is, you have to commit to that and substantiate it every day. Because again, otherwise the world is so at the ready, always, 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 to be like, no, come over here. Be like the rest of them, don't be powerful. Then all the crazy shit won't work anymore, all the, people vying for power in the world, they won't have it. Nobody can have power over anything or anybody if we have power over ourselves with the power of choice. Nobody can have power over you if you have the power of choice. And if we have a world of people, or like even just a lot of people in the world who have the power of choice truly, then we destabilize, debilitate, and get rid of basically the whole, like the current state of affairs in the world, where there's a lot of people and groups of people really vying for power on a global scale in all kinds of different ways. That will not, it's already losing its foothold. Like there's already a crumbling, which is what we're experiencing in a lot of the destabilization of things in the world. And the more that we empower ourselves with the power of choice, the less of a foothold that all has, and it will go away. I know that there's a really dynamic change in the world right now. And that's really exciting. I mean, that's what I came here to be part of. So that's cool. And And it's one choice at a time, one person at a time. I mean, we really only have power over ourselves and what it is that we would like to choose. And there's an enormous amount of peace that comes with that. Peace, even the choice for peace is actually power. Being able to choose peace in the middle of a freezing cold stream, being able to choose peace in the middle of a heated argument, being able to choose peace in the middle of war, economic upheaval, massive transition in our lives, family stuff. I mean, I've got teenage drama, that's been going on for years in my family and still going, and even recently I've gotten to a totally different level of peace with it. It's like, I can't control him. I don't really want to control me, but I do want to have the power of choice. That's way more interesting to me. And I've seen it yield, everything that I've created since I got divorced. And in my life, but like there was a moment in 2009, I believe, no, 2008, where I started to play with choice in a very different way, and knew that my whole life could be different, desired that, knew that my life was not what I desired it to be, took apart my marriage. I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, all kinds of things happened from there. And I actually probably will tell that story next time. There's some really cool stuff I want to share from that time and those choices that were this beautiful interplay of how my body facilitated me into a different life and a different business, a different reality with my family. Some really cool stuff that I've been getting recently. It'd be good to share. So tune in next time for more on that. But where was I going with that? I guess, from that moment where the choice that I made to really lower my barriers, get vulnerable with me, and look at my life and go, this isn't working. This isn't working. And I'm not nearly as happy as I know I can be. And I know that leaving my marriage is a huge part of this. That's something that, needs to happen. And so, from that moment, from that one choice came a lot of other choices, because choice, it's only good for 10 seconds. And then you got to continue making choices in the direction of the future you'd like to create. That's how I've created everything. And I've recently just seen how powerful it is to even just exercise choice, to just gain more awareness of things. And that probably is also a story for another time, because there's a lot I could say about that. But choice actually sometimes it's just about choosing anything, and then really having the awareness that is yielded from that. And then you don't have to keep choosing that thing. It's like you have more awareness. You can choose something different or whatever. So maybe that'll be another podcast that I'll do. But the point is that choice is such an incredibly powerful tool, so underestimated, so underchosen and avoided. And what else is possible? What if we don't need to avoid it? What if now is truly the time for that? Because the things that we've been doing previously don't work anymore. So it's time for something new and something different. And I invite you to that. So I have all kinds of cool stuff coming up. I have an Access Consciousness Foundation class, August 23rd, here in Boulder, Colorado. Beautiful. You can come plunge with me in the creek. And lots of other really cool things that are going to be going on during that class. A lot of fun extras, farmers market and food and cocktails and movement and all kinds of fun things. In addition to a class that was the beginning of something completely different in my life when I took the foundation class, and then every time since. And so that is really a big dive into the reality of choice and the reality of living as an energetic being, creating something totally different for ourselves. So you're invited to that. And also the Generative Business Pods, which is a 6-month business program that I do. We're going to really dive into this in regards to money and choosing and cultivating and nurturing and having your reality with money, which is your unique reality with money, which is going to be very, very different than the one that the world says is what is. And we can choose that. We can cultivate it. We can have it if we desire. And again, there's some education and some energetic pieces, energetic change, that can occur along the way that really expedite the process and make it a lot more fun and easier, and really create that sense of ease, joy, and glory with all of life and everything that we're asking for, no matter what's going on in the world. It's always possible to have joy, have creation, have ease, have glory, have ease with our bodies, relationships, financial ease, even in a declining economy. And it all comes from energetic awareness, choice, and the movement in the direction of a different future that has not existed before. So you're invited to play with that in whatever way you would like to. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I will be back next week with more. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.